Batman and Robin Annual Number 1, written by Peter Tomasi, art by Arjun Siaf. It's just a nice little one-shot that doesn't really tie into much anything at the moment. So we open up in Gotham City, and Batman is fighting against some guy in a flame suit, like a big mech suit that shoots out flames, and he breaks into the top of it, and turns out it's just a kid. The kid's like, oh, please don't tell my dad, he's going to kill me. And he starts crying, and Batman's like, Jesus, kid, the police are here, stop crying. So next morning, he's slowly waking up, and Alfred's like, oh, it's lunchtime. I brought you breakfast. By the way, you're going on a trip. And he already has his bags packed and tells him, like, yep, go ahead, get dressed, we're on our way. And it's only once they get on the plane somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean that Alfred gives more details. Turns out Damian has set up a bit of a scavenger hunt. He's like, look, Dad, or Father, I've been listening to you. I know that you think I haven't been paying attention, but I've set up this whole thing, and you're going to be going on a scavenger hunt to follow different clues to your family history. So first stop is in London. That's where Alfred is flying you, and then after that, you'll have to figure out where the next ones are on your own. Let's see how great of a detective you are. And Bruce is like, I'm sorry, Alfred, you knew about this? And he's like, yeah. Damian was rather persistent, and he's like, all right, well, what about my Batmaning? And it's just, it's like 3 days, it'll be fine. So it says game on, and then we see back at the Batcave, Damian is going out on his own in patrol, and he gets his own bat suit on, and he goes up to Titus, his dog, and he's like, oh, you didn't really think we were going to stay in the whole weekend, did you? So he heads out into the town, and he hears radio chatter of a metahuman that attacked a gas station. And there's already a detective there named Detective Pierce, who's like, okay, so something bit through the hose of the gasoline pump and had almost 800 gallons. All right, well, we'll keep an eye out. And they're just like, yeah, you backup grenade. You're nothing about these metahumans. And the cop's like, all right, well, didn't need that. So she starts driving away, and then Damian's sitting in the backseat like, let me see the evidence. And she freaks out and crashes her car as Damian grabs the gas pump and runs away. And the cop's like, God damn it, we don't need you, Batman. And he's like, yeah, I'm Batman. So we cut to London. It's at this hotel, this very fancy-looking hotel. And the general manager named Clint Barrington greets them. And it turns out Alfred used to act with this guy. They start getting along perfectly fine. He's like, oh, it's been years. How are things? How's everything going? And Bruce is like, I can hang out back in the room if you want to catch up. And he's like, no. I've been directed to show you this. And he walks him down the hall and shows him a painting called Unfinished Fruit. And Bruce is like, I have no idea what this means to me. And Clint explains that this was painted by Martha Wayne while she was here out at this hotel. They were enjoying some time. And turns out that she painted this. And Bruce, he got his hand in some paint. And so there's a big red handprint right on the painting. But Thomas took the painting and gave a huge sum of money to the hotel and said, you are going to hang this in like the main foyer. You're going to treat it like you would a masterpiece. And you're just going to leave it up there. And in return, you get this much money. And it turns out after some deals had happened and the hotel changed hands and whatnot, they forgot about the agreement. But now it was brought to their attention by an anonymous source, a.k.a. Damian, who has said, all right, well, it's back up now. We will treat it as a masterpiece that we agreed to. So Bruce is like, oh, that's nice. So then we cut back to Gotham, some random group of thugs and some guy wearing an outfit that doesn't look familiar to me at all. They're all running out with some gear. And it's like, man, what is this, Batman Jr.? What is he going to do against us? And it says 17 seconds later, and he's literally decapitated all of them. And we see later on, I guess the next morning, Damian is talking to his dad. He's got a green screen set up to make it look like he's at Barcelona. And he's like, oh, well, you're breaking up. Dad, I got to go. So he calls it a night, and he's trying to figure out what to do next. Bruce and Alfred are talking, and Alfred's like, there's a woman around here in London named Catherine who I've had very intimate relationships with. And Bruce is like, that's gross, but if you want to stick around here, by all means, I can go on the rest of the trip myself. You've got about 1,000 weeks of vacation time built up, so just enjoy yourself here. So at that point, Alfred's going to stick around in London as Bruce goes on. So next night, Damian's just waiting for the sun to go down so that he can go out. He's got like a wine glass filled with water and a robe on, and he's like, go down, you stupid sun. And so he starts saying, in my sleep, I started piecing together a bit more of the details. I can figure out what's going on with this gasoline thing. Why are they chewing through the gas? There are easier ways to get fuel. Something's going on here. But then his alarm goes off and he's ready to go out in the town. And he hops in the Batmobile and he's like, all right, the night is... And he scoots forward his seat a little bit. Mine. And then he drives off. I like these moments. So we get a whole montage of him just beating the crap out of a bunch of criminals in Gotham until the bat signal comes on. And we see it's Gordon with Detective Pierce. And Pierce is like, hey, when he gets here, I want you to talk to him. And Gordon's like, dude, chill. Okay? And all of a sudden, a goon drops down onto Pierce and it's just like, I brought you a gift. He told me about some crazy things going on at gas stations and stuff like that. I'm getting answers as to why. And Gordon's like, wait, hold on. I recognize that voice. Is that Robin? Is that you? And as he comes around to turn off the light to see if it is Robin, Damian's already gone. So we pick up in Barcelona. Bruce comes across some kids playing soccer, and she's just like, hey, you have an American accent. I was told to give something to somebody who has an American accent. And it turns out it's a little note from Damian saying, open at exactly this location in front of this fountain. And he does, and it turns out that it was a picture of his parents on their honeymoon in Barcelona. And he lined it up perfectly with the location. And Bruce plays some soccer with the kids to just enjoy himself there. So then Damian sets up the green screen again, sends him off to Rome, and says like, all right, well, I'll meet up with you after this one. This is the last stop. But then when he turns it off, he's like, I only got one more night. I got to solve this crime. I got to make it count. So a big house fire breaks out in Gotham. He gets a kid out of the fire. And the mom's like, thank you, Bat boy. And he's like, I'm Batman. God damn it. So they see all this stuff catching on fire, and he tries figuring out what's going on. And he sees a heat signature farther away. And when he gets down to it, he's like, oh, wait a minute. This guy's got super sharp teeth, but he's caught on fire. So what's going on here? He clearly was the one who was chewing gas, but he must have had a partner. And at that point, the big fire suit guy from the beginning of the story shows back up, and he's just like, oh, you guys beat up my son in the beginning of the issue, you bats. And now I'm going to get my revenge. He was an innocent boy who just found my prototype suit. And then Damian's like, all right, well, the police are coming. Time to freeze this show. And he puts in a Mr. Freeze thing to take out the coolant. And the guy's like, please don't tell my wife. He's going to be so mad. And he's like, dude, stop your crying. Jesus. So at that point, Detective Pierce shows up. And he literally explains the whole thing of like, I used this guy because with the organic nature of him biting through the rods, it wouldn't cause a spark on the gasoline, so I was able to siphon it all off, and then I was just going to sell this suit to like the Joker or somebody, whoever wanted to cause some problems. And Batman's like, yep, another crime solved, you're welcome, detective. And Pierce is like, I hate you so much. So then we get to Rome, and Bruce is sketching a etching of the stone to see that it carved into it says, Martha, will you marry me, from Thomas. And the guard there is like, hey, I could turn the other cheek if you really want to take it with you. And he's like, no, my parents left it here for a reason, and I'm going to leave it here as well. So Damian's on the phone. He's taking down the green screen saying like, hey, yeah, your last stop is back in London, back at the hotel. I'll meet you there. I'm actually there already. So see ya. And at that point, Damian has to haul ass to get over there. 7 hours later, he gets there. And Bruce is already there waiting. He's like, hey, look, Dick did the same stuff when he was Robin. He took advantage of me taking my business trips to go out on patrol on his own. Whatever reason you did it, I'm proud of you. You did a great job, and it really did mean a lot to me. And he's like, yeah, well, it's no big deal, Father. I'm really happy to do it. So then we get a bit of an epilogue outside the Old Globe Theater, where Alfred apparently was joining in on the show of the Two Gentlemen of Verona, where the woman that he loved was the stage manager. And they're waiting outside the cast door, and all of a sudden Alfred comes storming out, and he's like, the nerve of that woman, giving me stage directions in the middle of the show. Gentlemen, I don't know about you, but I will personally fly us out of London tonight. Screw her. And they just look at each other like, okay, well, do you need to give back the costume, Alfred? And Alfred's like, Master Bruce, shut your face. In the end. This was just a fun story. This was a nice little one-off. It set up emotional beats. It set up funny moments. I enjoyed this through and through. I'm going to give this one... Honestly, I'm going to give it a 9. I really think this one was a high-quality issue. It did a great job of setting up Bruce and Damian's dynamic. It gave Alfred something to do. It gave his own little backstory. It set up more stuff with Bruce and discovering his own family history. This was just fantastic throughout. So I'm giving this one a 9. Really do enjoy it. Really do recommend it. So we'll pick up next issue with wherever that goes.